Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank Senator Bozeman because we are both sponsoring the OIG Training Act together, and I wanted to just follow up on his line of questioning with regard to that. I just want to make sure there isn't anything else you would like to add about both the importance of making sure that this is mandatory training regardless of who's in charge of the VA, and the importance of being able to contact employees directly from the IG's office as opposed to having to go through the Secretary's office. So is there anything else you'd like to add? I think Senator Bozeman covered a lot of it.
Yeah, no, just to add again, that the importance of making this mandatory is to ensure that every VA employee really does understand what the OIG does, why we're here, and most importantly, probably our independence, which is different than, for example, OAWP or other organizations to which they may have the opportunity to report. The OIG is different, we're independent, and we conduct criminal investigations, which is something that the other organizations within the department do not do. So if employees have concerns that there may be a crime being committed or something, they need to know that they can come to us and that we have the authority and the resources to look into that. So I would say that, and again, it really is important to be able for the Inspector General to communicate directly with the employees, which has been something that our office has not been able to do so far. Just to highlight again the importance of blowing the whistle when you see things that you don't think are right. And making sure employees understand they don't have to be right about whether it's a problem. They just need to report it. We'll look into it. We'll figure out if it's right or wrong or otherwise. And so I think those are really the important things that this bill will accomplish.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your work. I wanted to turn now to you, Ms. Ogilvie. New Hampshire National Guardsmen and Reserve swear to defend the Constitution in their country just as their active duty counterparts do, and they deserve the same respect and recognition. So that's why I introduced bipartisan legislation with Senator Shaheen and Senator Kramer sitting right across from me, and Senator Hoeven, to reform the Veteran Cemetery Grants Program to ensure that all members of reserve components and the National Guard are eligible to be buried in state veteran cemeteries. I'm glad to hear that the VA supports this legislation. Will you all commit to continue your work with my office so that we can get this done?
Yes, ma'am. I'll speak for National Cemetery Administration and say that we're committed to working with you.
Yeah, and I'll just note that our National Guardsmen and women in particular and reserves have been so heavily deployed during the war on Afghanistan, the global war on terrorism generally. The thought that they're not eligible to be in our veteran cemeteries is really just outrageous. So I appreciate that very much. And last thing, Mr. Chair, I will just finish with, I really appreciated the conversation you all were having with Senator Brown about the issue of transition and the impact of transition on our veterans' mental health. I'm pleased that we were able to pass the Solid Start Act, which would make it permanent in statute through this committee. I'll just note that one of the veterans I talk with a lot in New Hampshire has pointed out to me, he said, why do we act as if PTSD is something we have to diagnose and maybe treat as unusual, when in fact, given the experience of our servicemen and women, we should expect PTSD, and we should be expecting to need to help people deal with it and treat it appropriately. And I think that goes for the whole issue of mental health generally. So I look forward to working with all of you so we can really make sure that the stigma around it is lifted and lessened over time, and really get the treatment that our veterans need so completely, as our active servicemen and women do too. So thanks for your work on that, and thank you, Mr. Chair.